Welcome to TheoTRADE. This is Don Kaufman. It's August 27th, 2025. We are just seconds after the cash close here on this Wednesday afternoon. What an important Wednesday it is. We are waiting any second on Nvidia's earnings, which is gonna unleash the wrath of AI upon markets. For whatever it's worth, that could be higher or lower in here. You know what? Let's jump right to Nvidia. Look, the earnings are supposed to be out literally anytime after the bell. And we'll assess markets until these numbers are out, because obviously it's important. It might not be as important as some of the jobs numbers, though, coming out tomorrow. Again, I think that, yes, Nvidia is incredibly important. And yes, Nvidia this evening, and I've actually got some trades on. Nvidia this evening is anticipating, approximately a $12 move. Again, anticipating about a $12 kind of expected move. And to put that into context for just a second, there are 24 billion shares, available on there. And if you look at like a $12 move, obviously if it's a dollar move, if it's a dollar move, like that's the equivalency of $24 billion. I was doing this a little earlier today, but I'm going to do some quick and dirty math over here. Take 24 and multiply it basically by 12. What do you got? 288. For the most part, if Nvidia moves, the full $12 like it's expected to, that's $300 billion of market cap shifting, That's the size of, well, many of the companies you see on the screen. You pull up other companies. Just throw this out here for a second. You look at something like Boeing, Boeing's only a $178 billion company. You look at Costco, $420 billion. All right, I'm just giving you scale, magnitude, if you will, of how big, Nvidia really is, right? And the answer to how big it is again, it's a $4.4 trillion monster out there. Now, as we are kind of waiting for Nvidia's earnings, obviously, as I said, that kind of takes center stage. Nevertheless, there's some other moves on the screen that obviously we're paying attention to. One of those, is actually VVIX. This is starting to climb a little bit again. One of the things in this marketplace that, again, I don't want to get too caught up in Nvidia, but one of the things in the marketplace it's kind of surprising me right now is when you look at like VIX, and VIX is down at 15. By the way, VIX at 15 is, it's low or lower, But like historically speaking, it's not half bad. And people are, the average VIX is like 20, But there were years that we actually traded, a 10 to 12 VIX. 15, I think you have to actually maintain somewhere near a 15 VIX because we have a pretty volatile administration. But don't be confused. The VVIX, this is kind of an, indicative of some hedging activity. And I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised because here we are, coming into September. We're turning the corner. Next week is September. September, baby. You've only got Thursday, Friday, and then we're launched out into September. September's the most volatile month, and it's finally starting to pick up. But again, VVIX is maybe moving, but you're just not seeing that kind of price action in VIX specifically, At this point, though, I think I should also make a comment that if you look at the volatility futures are pricing like 56 days out, are already pricing reversion all the way up, to like a 19 VIX. To explain this, volatility futures, that's like the forward future. Right? They don't look at risk like, yes, you trade them right here and they're a tangible, tradable, asset class. But what you're actually looking at, is like, it's a bet on volatility, for instance, 56 days out, or a bet on volatility 84 days out. And they're pricing that volatility back up there. And that's, be mindful of it because there's this constant, volatility is so low. I can't believe volatility is low. But if you go and you try to make a bet on volatility right now, like over in VIX, the VIX options are actually priced specifically, from these VIX futures. what you're going to find out real quick, okay, is that volatility, even 21 days out, it's pricing it at 17. And volatility, as I said, 56 days out, it's pricing it all the way at 1920. Maybe that's because of something like Nvidia. But to me, I think it's all about, okay, like, you have economic data coming out tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, let's jump right to it. Let's cruise over to the SPX, the mother of all products. Okay, so again, it's no problem. Like Nvidia does kind of set the tone for AI trade. In the next couple of weeks, there's not going to be a lot of big AI earnings in the next few weeks, and Nvidia, it's going to set the tone. So it is important. But more importantly, to me, is where we are on the week. And to kind of give ourselves like orientation, we're going to look specifically here at the SPX. Again, I always call it the mother of all products because, you need only look at and again, I don't think too many people look at this, but you need only look at the options order flow in here. This is a $6,480 product, right? Okay. It traded over 3 million contracts today. And the spiders are based on it too. And the spiders, they're good for about 5 million contracts. Just add those up. You have like 8-9 million contracts. The whole market, the entire market today, I don't know, might do 55 million contracts. Most of the contract size is going through like spiders and SPX, and the SPX is massive versus other contracts out there, right? Because it's a $6,500 product. Everything else you trade is like XLF, it's like $53 product. Okay, that's like trading peanuts versus a giant here. This is why I call it the mother of all products. Anyway, taking a look at the SPX, right, and why I'm so into the SPX is right now we're sitting at a week and we're kind of pricing in about an $82 expected move for the entire week. Actual move at this point, there's been nothing. Like I know people want to read into this. It was a bullish move. Okay. Oh, hold on there, cowboy. The week started 64.66. The week is now trading 64.81. That's not a bullish move. It's a nothing move. It doesn't even count. Okay, it doesn't count. Okay, and it only counts if it's close and horseshoes and hand grenades, and that ain't even. I mean, it's a non-event, right? So what you have here is a massively unchanged market, but still pricing an $82 anticipation of movement on the entire week. That's important. We have not tagged the upper or lower edge of an expected move yet. We have not tagged the upper or lower edge of the expected move. Why is that important? Because on any given week, right? We can go back. There's a lot of weeks in there. In any given week, there's an incredibly high probability of doing so. So there are weeks in here where you're like, oh, look, you didn't tag here and you didn't tag here. I'm aware. That's actually 2 consecutive weeks we didn't tag the upper or lower edge of the expected move. And almost every other week, we actually do, in fact, tag. There's an incredibly high probability of that. As such, that to me right there is why these Nvidia earnings matter, because they are likely to be the catalyst to kind of spark, if you will, the next move. As I said, the wrath, if you will, of AI upon the markets. And away we go. Nvidia earnings, they are out. Tried for the corner and missed. There is sell-side activity, people, in this marketplace. Seconds ago, you saw on my screen that the S&Ps were up about 12 handles, now down 21. The Nasdaq dropping like a rock. Look, it's not just about market capitalization. Yeah, Nvidia is the biggest monkey on the block, right? It's about a defining moment to what AI trade is going to be for the weeks, months, into the future, until the next major earnings cycle comes out from the likes of Meta or Microsoft, or Google. I'm leaving Apple out of that conversation because they don't even have AI, but it's kind of a defining factor. So let's actually look not just at like the price action there, look at the price action here, Overall, I'll give you just kind of my knee-jerk reaction to some of the earnings that have just kind of come out. First of all, when you look at the last price, all right, the last price on the screen in and or around earnings, that's the last price from what? From the market close. You want to look at the bid and offer. That's going to be live. So when we focus on earnings, you're looking at the bid and ask. Okay. What are we really down right now? About $6 to $7 of sell side activity. Quite frankly, it's not that big. People, look, this is a $12 expected move. So there is ample room still for movement, okay, here in Nvidia. And again, take that as good or bad. Right now, again, there's a little bit of sell side activity, but I don't want to kind of overblow this. I would anticipate, just based on how much order flow has come in here, I'd anticipate that, $12 will be the move. Doesn't even matter, okay, if it's now. There's going to be a conference call kind of later this evening, but $12 should be the move, okay? And the one aspect I also want to bring into scope here, because it's kind of a cool time to spend talking about earnings. I'm not looking at the numbers. I don't even care what the numbers are. What does it matter? What do we trade? Order flow, okay? What do we have to work with? The numbers that are on the screen. Who cares? Did they beat earnings estimates? Oh no, but still my heart. Does any of it actually matter? Other than looking at the raw number and saying like, all right, it closed at 181.60 and now it's down to, 174. It's flirting again with, $7 loss, $6-7 loss. I think I saw it down as much as like $8, but it's expected to move 12. And the expectation of 12, okay, is based on almost 3 million option contracts. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of dollars of liquidity in this marketplace. It's all predicated on this. Now, okay, for just a moment, we know Nvidia's earnings, they're out. Move past it. I jump back to the SPX, and I was talking about, the mother of all products here, how it was massively unchanged, and yet how Nvidia kind of set the tone. But to me, again, tomorrow morning, okay, you're going to get some data. And if that data tomorrow morning doesn't coincide with like the narrative that we should be cutting interest rates, then markets are going to get a little crazy again. Again, that is critically important coming into tomorrow, as we've seen. And again, kind of the bigger takeaway over here, the AI trade or the wrath of AI, this could actually set the tone. And as I said, frankly speaking, we didn't get that much out of Nvidia. I wouldn't say it's a dud, but you would kind of have to wait for the conference call and see how the order flow plays out after that, even into the morning. And this thing should move $12. It's not moving $12 right now. We'll see what it actually, how it actually plays out. Who knows? Maybe it's up in the next few hours. Nevertheless, it sets the tone for that AI trade. That's critical. But the other aspect in here that should really resonate with you is we're turning the corner into September. The VIX looks rather low. Okay, volatility like VVIX is starting to creep up. Pay careful attention. I think one of the expectations that almost everybody has, outside of like Nvidia being higher or lower, one of the expectations almost everybody kind of agrees upon, you're going to see more volatility in this marketplace in the very near future. That, people, okay, is something that you really want to focus on. So sit down, strap in, keep your hands and feet inside of the vehicle at all times. More volatility is very likely on the way. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here at TheoTRADE. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.